And we are live. This is
I'm
Gidon
glad we're alive.
Ariel.
We're live and alive.
Alive and alive. I'm Gidon Ariel of Root Source, meeting here with my good, better, and bestest and betterest friend, Dr. Richard Booker.
Shalom from Texas, everyone.
Shalom. Anyway, so what shall I tell you? Well, you tell me how's Peggy? Is she okay? She had some health issues recently, if I remember correctly.
She's having a little procedure this Thursday morning. Hopefully will be of help for her. So thanks for asking.
I will be praying for her.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we'll be having our 55th wedding anniversary coming up in a few months. So we're in a pre-celebration phase already.
That's a double nickel.
That's 55 years. We tell young people this, and they fall down in disbelief. They faint. How could somebody be married 55 years? You know.
You guys are a double nickel. Which one uses the wooden nickel?
Well, just being married to Peggy is the winning nickel for me.
It's a winning nickel.
Absolutely.
You won the jackpot.
So thank you for inquiring, and we're hoping for a good outcome in a few days.
Would you mind reminding me about your children?
We have no physical children, Gidon. We have many spiritual children all over the world, and they're just as hard to raise as the others. They have their own independent spirit too, you know.
If you get somebody who really feels like you are their spiritual parents, and they are as close to you as most people should be close to their own parents.
Of course.
So tell me a little bit about one or two of them.
We even have spiritual grandchildren. And you feel that it's a spirit to spirit connection. You feel an eternal bond to them.
Where do they live?
All over. We've been itinerant all over the world for many years. So in that process, there's always a small group of people here, there, and yonder that connect to you in that way, and that you feel that way about them. And so they don't have to be under your roof to be your children.
I'm wondering, again, obviously it's something personal, but I wonder, you say that you have thousands of children, spiritual children.
No, I wouldn't say that. No. I wouldn't say that. No, you could never have that.
So then
there's always some, though, you know.
Is there anyone that you feel comfortable mentioning?
No, not really.
Okay. So let me tell you about my children.
Okay.
5 beautiful children. First of all, 2 of them were from my wife's previous marriage. We got married when they were 3 and 1 or 2 and 4 or something like that. And when we were going out, Deborah and I, they called me Gidon. And of course, and towards our wedding, which was a few months after we started going out, and they started calling me Abba. Until today, they call me Abba. Of course, Abba is Hebrew for father. It's actually Aramaic.
Can I interrupt a minute? Tell me, where did you meet this lovely young lady? In the U.S. or Israel?
In Israel. I moved to Israel when I was 14.
That's right, I remember.
And she moved to Israel when she was about 21.
Okay.
And she came here married, but about 5 years later, she got divorced. Or I don't know, 5, 10, I don't remember how long. I wasn't there. And I was about 35 when I finally, or maybe 31, when I finally got married. And when I was started to looking for, I didn't go out too much. But when I finally decided that I wanted to get married, I said, I want to have children. So I said, I have a choice. Either marry somebody younger than me who will, I said, a lot of children. I wanted to have the opportunity to have a lot of children. So I said, either I have to marry somebody younger than me, like in her early 20s, or I have to marry somebody who comes with children. Somebody who is already divorced or God forbid, widowed. So I was looking for a single mother. Now,
that's unusual.
exactly. Most single mothers say, "Oh gosh, these children that I have, they're an albatross for me because if I finally meet somebody who's good," he says, what are those little people walking around here? Oh, they're my children. They're your children, not mine. Bye. I said, no, I'm looking to be a father of little children.
That's very unusual, but it's very admirable too.
Well, look, it was very special. And, God decides, it says in the Jewish tradition that a spiritual voice, a heavenly voice goes out 40 days before a child is born and says, Bat Ploni LaPloni, the daughter of of so-and-so is destined to be the wife of so-and-so. So in other words, when I marry my wife, I believe it is a divine destiny.
She is your Bersherta.
Exactly. Oh, thanks. You're teaching me some Yiddish.
Absolutely. It's beautiful.
So I'm not gonna say I didn't have tough times. I don't know how much tougher or easier I had times with these children than with any of my other children, or if anybody ever had any better time with anybody else. You always look around and say, oh, look at those darling children. Look how they all are going to church in alphabetical order, in size order. All of their shirts and suits are so pressed nicely. I don't know what goes on behind the closed doors.
Right, but that's not what's happening at home.
I don't know.
So let me ask you a question. When you met Deborah, your beautiful bride, did you know, how long was it before you decided this heavenly voice was telling you this is your Bersherta, this is the one for you? Aha, I got you.
I'll tell you. I wasn't so interested in going out with anybody. But I went to I was working for some organization, and my job was to do like a parlor meeting to discuss an organization. So I went there and I met the host who would be hosting the parlor meeting, and he said, "Would you like to meet somebody?" And I said, is she coming to the meeting? He said, yeah. I said, okay, I'll meet her at the meeting. So I met her at the meeting, and I wasn't interested. Now, the slightly longer story is that she was wearing a wig at the meeting. Now, that is because, as you might know, it is a Jewish law, not universally followed. Not all laws are followed by everybody. That's the way it goes. That a married woman should cover her hair.
I understand.
And there's evidently a law that even a divorced woman should cover her hair. And I
hadn't seen that one, but that's okay.
Well, my wife was very religious. She was a true law observer. But on the other hand, she couldn't walk around with another kind of head covering, because then it would really look like she's married. So there she was walking around with a wig, and I don't like wigs so much. So I said, and especially because they reminded me of people who were especially religious, like more religious than I'm comfortable with, if I may, if you know what I mean.
I certainly do.
Anyway, months and months and months later, I went out with somebody else. Somebody else set me up with some other divorcee, and she said, don't look at this wig as if I like wearing a wig. It's because my rabbi told me that I have to cover my hair, and obviously I can't wear a hat or a scarf because everybody think I'm married. So I'm wearing this wig, and some people will think it's my regular hair. So then I thought, well, wait a second. That means that maybe Deborah also wasn't like that either. So I decided, okay, I'll go back and I'll go out with her.
Okay, I got it.
And it took a little while, but when we first got married, she wore wigs. She had 2 or 3 wigs, and I had to take them to the special wig lady, about an hour drive, and get it done and get it back, blah, blah, blah. But after a few years, she said, you know what, Gidon, I had enough of these wigs. And these wigs, they cost like $1,000 each. And then she had these, and she bought these beautiful, she would buy them used, second hand or second head or whatever.
Second hand.
But then she saw that so many of the people in our religious neighborhood were walking around with these beautiful scarves tied up around their heads that cost $8 a scarf. So she said, you know what, I'll just wear these. And little by little, she finally said, you know, this is ridiculous for me to spend so much money on this stuff, especially since Gidon doesn't even like it. I really don't like it so much. So that was it. There was other things. At first she had contact lenses. And I said, honey, you're beautiful with glasses. You're beautiful with that. You're beautiful all over. I don't need
Oh, listen to you. You charmer, you.
Huh?
I like that.
Anyway, every night, not every night. First of all, every night, obviously, she had to take out her eyes. She had to take out her contact lenses. So at some point, and then, you know, we'd come back from a wedding 2-3 hours after her bedtime, before she gets into bed, a half an hour. I said, honey, what? Look at this. I'm already in bed. Come on. So she said, okay. So she put on her glasses. She stopped using, she said, and then every time we went to a wedding, she came and said, Gidon, I'm so grateful for you for convincing me not to have contact lenses anymore. And that was it. It's just, and I didn't say, honey, I don't like the contact lenses. Come on, glasses, or forget about that wig. No, I can't push her out of who she is. You can't pull a snail out of its shell. You can't pull a butterfly out of the cocoon. You can only wait patiently until they decide that it's time. And until then, enjoy God's nature, how beautiful God made that cocoon also. So I loved my wife when she was still with her glasses, with her contact lenses. Love her with her wig. I loved schlepping all the way to Hardnof and hanging out, waiting and going twice. You know, once I would schlep there and bring it, and then a week later I'd schlep there and bring it back after she washed it or dried it or I don't know. I love it. Why did I love it? Because I knew that she was appreciative of me doing that for her. That's why I like doing things for people, because I know that they like it. And you know what? Even if they don't say thank you so much, I'll pretend that they said thank you.
That's very good. So, how many you have? 3 children between you and Deborah?
We have 5 children.
But 3 more between the 2 of you?
We have 2 children from her previous marriage and 3 children since then, yes.
Right. And how old are your children?
Our oldest is 29. Her birthday was just a few days ago, which is a little bit surprising because my mother was 29 for decades. So it's a little surprising that she's the same age as my mother. But
yes.
So she's 29.
And what does she do? Does she have a family? Is she married or single?
She's not married. She has been living alone with roommates, with friends for probably about 7 years.
Does she have a job?
She recently finished working a course in salary calculator. It's sort of like a bookkeeper.
Okay.
But since Corona, since COVID-19, her roommates moved out of their apartment, moved back with their family. So she moved back with us. So she's been living with us for about a year now. And she just did a job interview, but she didn't get that job. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But this week, she's at a special, very, very special. I'm so excited. A special seminar, a 10-day long seminar called Tech to Peace. What does it mean?
I don't know.
Well, no, I didn't ask you because you knew. I asked you as a
I know.
rhetorical question for me to answer.
I know.
It is a subsidized program for Israelis of all different kinds and Palestinians, young Israelis and Palestinians, to get together for a 10-day long seminar to get to know each other and to learn a certain high-tech thing. So she is spending these 10 days learning how to be a webmaster, a web designer.
Good. That's a very good skill.
And at the same time, she's meeting other Israelis and Palestinians.
That's a very good thing to do.
I think so. I actually encouraged her to do it. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine, I'm in the Likud party. Prime Minister, I will see how many more days I can say Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party. Well,
I don't know.
As long as I can, I will. Anyway, so I'm a member of the Central Committee, and we're a right-wing party. We're a pro-Israel, pro-security party. A lot of people in my party don't take too fondly to Palestinians or to Arabs or to Muslims. And I say, you know what? If I'm pretty confident that somebody isn't going to kill me, then I'm happy to be his friend.
Okay.
So actually, another one of my activists, somebody's even more active than me, he found out about this, and he probably a friend of his was helping to put it together, and so he posted it on one of our WhatsApp groups, and I forwarded it to my two older children, and my daughter said, "Wow, this sounds interesting," and she got accepted.
Very good.
That's very good, yeah. Now again, I didn't say this, but she's actually much more on the pro-Palestinian side than on the pro-settler side. She's gone off our derech, as they say. But that's she's gone on her own path. But that's okay. She's our daughter. She lives with us. It's a pleasure.
So tell me about your next oldest child, the one that your wife had before you guys married.
After Ellie, my oldest daughter is Ellie. After her comes Akiva. He's 2 years younger than her, so he's about 27. He got married about 3-4 years ago. And they've got a son who's about a year and a half old or something like that. And they live in Har Bracha, in the mountain of blessing. Isn't that a nice place to live?
Yes.
It's called the mountain of blessing because that is where God gave the blessing to the Jewish people when they came into the land of Israel, as he commanded them to do in the book of Deuteronomy, where half of the nation stood on the Mount of Blessing, on the Mount of Gerizim, and half of the nation stood on Mount Ebal, the other side of the valley. And in the valley is the city of Shechem, Nablus, Shechem. And there's a Jewish community right there on the mountain of blessing.
Very good. Peggy and I we visited with the Samaritan community on Mount Gerizim one year, and it was wonderful. It was quite amazing. We even went to their Sabbath synagogue service. It was on Shabbat. And so can you imagine two Texas Christians on Mount Gerizim attending a Samaritan synagogue service on the Sabbath. We were definitely in culture shock, but we enjoyed every moment of it. We had a nice night. It was raining very, very hard. So the Samaritan host was very kind and rescued us from the rain. We spent a whole afternoon with them, getting to know them and talking about God and the Bible and all these things that are important to people in Israel.
Yes,
It was a wonderful experience for us.
that's beautiful. So my son, he's studying human resources in the University of Ariel, about a half-hour drive from his home.
We've been to Ariel numerous times.
Right, and he works as the director of resource development for the organization called what is it called? Biadenu, in our hands. It is the organization, the coalition of organizations dedicated to educating people about the temple and the Temple Mount.
I see.
So that is very exciting, and he's doing a great job there.
Is he working with the Temple Institute?
No, it's a different organization, but it's related.
Okay, I understand.
So that's very exciting for me.
Very interesting. We've taken our group many years to the Temple Institute, of course, in Jerusalem. And that's always fascinating for Bible people to see what they're doing there.
Let me tell you about my next two children, because we only have about 2 minutes, because I've got somebody else coming in.
Please do. We'll have to take them up in another meeting sometime to learn more about them.
We don't have to, but if you want to.
I want to.
So that's Akiva. After Akiva is married to Rivka, and their son is called Netanel Baruch, Tani. Beautiful kid.
You are a grandfather. You're too young.
You're never too young and you're never too old. You're just right. Anyway, my next daughter got married first. Her name is Shira Rita, and she got married almost straight out of high school. And her husband is Ori, and they have 2 children.
Wow.
Nachman Simcha is their oldest. He's about 2.5 maybe. And their youngest is now, I think, about a half-year old. And his name is Yosef Adin. And they are Braslaver Hasidim. They are, I guess you could say, charismatic Jews. They're dancing all the time. And they live about a half an hour away from us. So we get to see them from time to time. Up until a half year ago, they lived for about a year and a half in our home. So that was wonderful.
You have, as the good book says, a full quiver.
I only talked about barely half of them. After Shirarina comes Chaim Tzvi. He's in the army now, but he's also a Breslover. And he drives everybody crazy because he only cares about making people happy. He smiles and laughs and dances. Drives me crazy, but that's all he can do. Just does to smile and have fun. And we're expecting our 4th grandchild with him.
Wow, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
And his wife Liel Esther.
It's a beautiful, beautiful full family you have.
And they live in Safed, up north.
Yes, long way off.
Well, nowadays with the phones and all that stuff, everybody's just a phone call away, especially if they need money.
That's very funny.
Of course, our youngest is Moria. She's 17. She recently turned 17. Moria is, of course, the name of the Temple Mount. So you see that my son got it from somewhere. And she's studying in high school. And she is most focused on getting her driver's license.
Oh, very good. That's very important. You have to really pray hard to drive in Israel. It's a very dangerous occupation, driving in Israel.
Anyway, I'm about to welcome my partner and good friend Bob Odell into the Zoom room. And Bob has visited us numerous times, of course, in Israel. And I've already introduced him to my family, and we've gone out together. It was just wonderful. Bob is an example. We talked about this in our previous last week's or yesterday's or an hour ago's meeting. Bob doesn't talk about Jesus. He just talks about things that he and I are interested in together. And that's it. We're best of friends. It's just beautiful.
I hope to meet your family sometime and give them all a big hug from Texas for us.
Thank you very much. So we'll be seeing each other, Bezrat Hashem, next week, sir.
Okay,